Hey guys, welcome to TST Garage. I'm Bart, and today I will be talking about crash protection for the Yamaha MT-07 FZ-07. Over time, we've done a lot of different videos showcasing different types of crash protection components on this bike and other bikes. I have personally benefited from mounting crash protection components on my race bikes because, as you know, from time to time, you end up tossing that bike down the track, sometimes at excess of 100 miles an hour, and what you want to do is minimize the damage to the really expensive parts of the bike, like the motor case, the forks, the wheels. You know, mounting crash protection components in those areas will minimize the damage. Doesn't really mean that you will not have damage, especially if you have a faired bike. You will still sustain damage to the fairings and maybe some controls, but the crux of the matter is that you do not want to crack open that engine case and enable debris to go inside. So I believe that the most efficient way to do that is through mounting frame sliders. This is a controversial item. We have sold thousands and thousands of Womet-Tech brand frame sliders. Usually we just sell the ones that stick out of the frame in one point, and those really do a good job of taking the brunt of a crash. A lot of people feel like that is a catch point where the bike will slide off of the road surface and catch something that has more friction like dirt and end up flipping it over. And yes, I've done that to some of my bikes, and yes, that is true. So there is a balance point where what works for some people doesn't work for others. What works in one crash doesn't work in another. Here we have the new EVOS sliders that Womet has manufactured. This is actually a combo effort on TST and Womet part. We helped design it because we have the bike in-house. Womet finished the design and executed it in a very beautiful way. And this is a slightly different setup where you have these dynamically shaped pucks that will not dig into the ground. And those pucks are made of delrin. This material does take the brunt of the hit when you crash and absorbs some of that energy of the crash because it is a plastic material, yet it is rigid enough to withstand a long slide. This does mount to an aluminum component that then will mount to 2 points on the frame. So you will benefit from having the frame to engine connection as the forward connection for the frame slider, and then the frame to engine head in the aft location. So in consequence, if you do crash, the delrin material will absorb some of the energy, and the bracket behind the delrin component will distribute the rest of that energy among a larger area that will be able to take that energy, absorb it, and not break any of the frame or engine components, in theory. So let's look in the box and see what awesome components we were sent by Womet-Tech over here. We have a number of spacers. We have these beautifully crafted CNC milled brackets that are surface milled. They are made of really nice 6065 aluminum, black anodized, really nice stuff. All right, I think I have all the components out on the table in front of me. One thing I want to stress is that these guys at Womet-Tech, they do put time into making really nice instruction sheets for you guys in 2 different languages. I would say, even though I'm going to show you how to install this on the bike, it's a very good idea to read through this. I know we all have attention deficit disorder. I know I do when it comes to putting parts on bikes. I just want to do it. But it's a good idea to read what the manufacturer has to say. I already did and absorbed it, so I'm going to put that to the side. We have left and right side components here. They are designated via engraving on the back side, but you can really just tell by the hole spacing. Here it's much more narrow. It'll fit in here. Right side is behind me on the other side, but you get the point. The slider components are side agnostic, so it doesn't really matter. We do have hardware to attach our pucks to the brackets here. This is stainless hardware. countersunk type. Before I go any further, I'm just gonna pre-assemble these guys together because that's just a good idea at this point. I'm gonna use a 5mm Allen to turn these in. Once I bottom them out, I will turn in another quarter turn to preload the threads. You are turning machine screw thread into delrin. There is a point at which you will get it too tight and rip out the thread. So all you're really looking to do is preload that delrin material and make sure that the force within that preload will keep this from spinning out. Also, there's a lot of friction between the steel and the delrin in the thread, so that will most likely prevent any type of vibratory loosening. I do recommend that once in a while, in between rides, you do give these things a wiggle and make sure nothing's coming loose. Generally, we've done a lot of these installs and we've never had them come loose. All right, so we have our right side, we have our left side. Now we just need to figure out what spacers go where. We have two identical spacers that have a really large diameter. They go in the front location, and the smaller diameter boss that is machined into this spacer will go into the frame and contact the surface most close to the engine. Now in the rear, we do have two different sizes of spacer. The longer spacer goes in the aft location on the left side, shorter in the opposite. Two identical large diameter bolts go through here in the front location, through these guys. And then we have two smaller diameter bolts that go in the rear location, and basically on the side that you have the shorter spacer, you will use the shorter bolt and vice versa. And now it looks like we're pre-configured to jump onto the bike and start taking some stuff apart. I just want to stress the importance of doing just one side at a time. I've seen these motors droop in the frame if too many fasteners are taken out. I've actually had to help the owner of this motorcycle raise the motor back in the frame because too many things were loosened and it did droop. So in the rare case that this does happen to you, you will need to employ a jack under the motor and get that motor raised back up. But if you follow my steps, I think there's a really, really good chance you'll be successful in mounting this on your bike without any fuss. Before we begin wrenching, I do want to mention that these are available on our website, tstindustries.com, as a part by themselves, and also in our Total Protection Pack kits that feature frame sliders, bar ends, fork sliders, engine case, and rear axle sliders. So you have an option presented to you. You can get them at a discount price in the pack, or you could just check out only the frame slider components. Choice is yours, but check out tstindustries.com where you'll find more information about this product and be able to order it there. I'm done yapping here. I'm excited to show you guys what it looks like on the bike and how easy it is to install. Let's get going. All right, so we're gonna start on the left side of the bike. We've brought over the left side assembly here. I'm gonna start by taking out the forward bolt. This takes an 18mm socket. All right, before I go and proceed with the removal of that one, I'm gonna get this spacer in here and get this threaded up and seated pretty much to the bottom. Like I said in the intro, I do not like to leave many of these things unbolted because the motor likes to droop in there. I will need a 10mm Allen for this bolt. All right, I'm gonna get it Leave it like this. Use an 8mm to remove that location. Spacer. It is pretty much symmetrical around its center plane, so it doesn't really matter if you put it in this way or that way. Get your alignment done, get your screw through. And on the way back in we go. If at any point the threads feel tight, do not continue, back out. Make sure that you are not cross-threading anything. The actual threads are in the engine components, so you do not want to cross-thread that. If it feels tight, back it out and just take your time. Make sure you don't hurt those threads. All right, so for the front here, we're gonna use 54 foot-pounds and that 10mm Allen. I'm already set to 54 foot-pounds. All right. For the rear, we're gonna use the 8mm Allen. I'm gonna drop down to 40 foot-pounds. All right, and this side's done. Let's move on to the right side. On the right side of the bike, we are basically going to repeat the procedure with the slight difference of location of holes. I'm gonna skip the commentary and just get it done for you guys here. All right, that's all there's really to it. It's a very simple installation, produces good results here, and I feel like now my rider will have more of a peace of mind when he goes out there knowing that he's well protected by Womet-Tech accessories. If you like what you see, check out TSTindustries.com. You'll be able to see more photos and information about this product and other products we offer for this bike on there. See you next time.